But what we found so far is the statewide number is 13.9% tested positive for having the antibodies. What does that mean? It means these are people who were infected and who developed the antibodies to fight the infection. So they were infected 3 weeks ago, right? 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, but they had the virus, they developed the antibodies, and they are now, quote unquote, recovered. 13.9%, just about 14%. Breakdown male, female. Female 12% positive, males close to 16%, 15.9% positive. Regionally, Long Island at 16.7, New York City at 21.2, Westchester, Rockland 11.7, and rest of state 3.6. This basically quantifies what we've been seeing anecdotally and what we have known, but it puts numbers to it. Rest of the state is basically upstate New York, 3.6. It was been about 7-8% of the cases that we've had in the state. Westchester, Rockland, we had an initial significant problem. Remember, Westchester had the largest, hottest cluster in the country at one time. 11%, so it's literally somewhere in between. New York City, 21, which again supports what we knew anecdotally. Long Island, 16.7, so it's not that far behind New York City, and it is significantly worse than Westchester, Rockland. We've been talking about Westchester, Rockland, and Nassau, Suffolk basically is 1, but there is a variation with the Long Island numbers. By race, Asians about 11.7%, African American 22%, Latino Hispanic 22%, multi none other 22%, white 9.1%. This reflects more the regional breakdown. African American and Latinos are in this survey disproportionately from New York City. And New York City is at 21%. So the African-American number, Latino number is 22%. But, and the upstate whites, they're talking about more upstate, which is 9, but it's 3.6 in the survey. By age, nothing extraordinary here. We did not survey anyone under 18. So it starts with 18 years old. 18 to 24, 8%, 45 to 54, 16, 75 plus, 13, but it's a small percent of the total. Again, how many 75-year-olds were out shopping and about? That is the group that's supposed to be isolating, because they are the most vulnerable, 65 to 74 also, but that's the distribution. Again, the sample was by definition people who were outside the home, so we have to analyze that. What does that do to the numbers? But that is a factor that has to be taken into consideration. If the infection rate is 13.9%, then it changes the theories of what the death rate is if you get infected. 13% of the population is about 2.7 million people who have been infected. If you look at what we have now as a death total, which is 15,500, that would be about 0.5% death rate. But two big caveats. First, it's preliminary data. It's only 3,000. Well, 3,000 is a significant data set, but it's still preliminary. And when we say there are 15,500 deaths, that number is going to go up. Those deaths are only hospitalization or nursing home deaths. That does not have what are called at-home deaths, right? This doesn't include people who died in their home and were not in a hospital or a nursing home. we still have to compile all that data. And then the at-home deaths, you have to go back and try to find out what was the cause of death for those at-home deaths, and then add them to the number of deaths connected to COVID. It gets even more complicated because in California, they're now finding deaths that go back to last December or January that they believe were COVID-related. And people didn't even know about COVID at that time. So if you then go back to December and January and start to look at the number of deaths and check them for a COVID-related death, I don't even know how you do that practically, you'll see that total number of deaths go up. But that 15,500 is not an accurate total number of deaths, in my opinion. Well, in fact, it's not an accurate total number of deaths because it does not count in-home deaths, at-home deaths. It's not accurate because there will have been many other deaths that were never tested for COVID that should be attributed to that number. But with those caveats, that's what we see in this survey.